In section 1.3, we're going to talk about different types of data. How can we kind of talk about data in different ways? So if we have data from an entire population, so whatever your population is, if you asked every single person or every single thing and you got data from it, that's called a parameter. Now, if you only got it from a sample, which will happen more likely, that's called a statistic. Okay, so the difference between a parameter and a statistic, a parameter is coming from the entire population, and a statistic is just coming from a sample. Now, when the data collected are numbers, there's two different types. So there's discrete, and for discrete data, the number of possible values is either finite or is a countable number. So a way to think about this is that a discrete value, it's going to be a whole number, something that can be given in whole numbers. So for example, the number of pets you have, or the number of kids you have, right? You can't have half of a pet or half of a kid. You know, those things are in whole numbers. The number of students in a class, that would have to be a whole number, so it would be discrete. The number of cars you own, anything where you're counting, and you're counting with whole numbers. Now, other things like measurements could have not just whole numbers, it could have fractions or decimals. And so continuous is when we have measurements that can assume any value over a continuous span. Okay, so these are going to be mostly when you're measuring something. So examples would be a weight of something or the height of something. Things where you're measuring, because your weight, you might be, or I don't know, let's say the weight of a kid. The kid might be 30.5 pounds, or it could be 30.7 pounds. You don't weigh whole pounds always. So that's why it's continuous. Okay, and then we have what are called the 4 levels of data. And each one kind of gives you more information about the data. So the first level is nominal. And that's data that consists of names, labels, or categories. So we don't have any numbers or anything. They're just, names, labels, or categories, and they can't be arranged or ordered. Okay, so they're things that you're getting data, maybe like eye color or hair color. But just because someone has blue eyes doesn't make that better than brown eyes. They're things that can't be ordered. So some examples would be something like if you're getting genders or nationalities or your political party affiliation, things like that, where you can get, ask people a question or get data, but you can't rank them in any way. Okay, the ordinal level means that they can be arranged. So now the data can be arranged. But you can't tell the difference between, you can't tell how far apart two things are. So an example of this would be something like college rankings. Maybe if you look up college rankings, I'm just making this up, but maybe the first one is Harvard and the second one is Yale. So we know that they're saying Harvard is better than Yale, but we don't know how much better they're saying it is. So this could be the same for any sort of rankings, car rankings, movie rankings, anything, where you have the first one is number 1 and the second one is number 2, and you know one is better than 2, but but you don't know how much better. Okay, the third ranking is the interval level, and here data can be ordered and you can tell the difference between two data values. We say the difference between two values is meaningful. But here's what's a little bit strange. There is no natural zero or no natural starting point. So there's two examples you'll really see often for interval level: temperatures and years. Because if we talk about temperature, say in Fahrenheit or Celsius, if we talk about zero, it being 0 degrees outside, it can get colder. We have negative degrees. And there's not a coldest temperature in that scale. And the same things with years. The year 0 wasn't the beginning of time. And so these are things that don't have a 0. Now the ratio level is things that have everything, okay? So they can be ordered. We can tell how far apart things are, so can tell the difference. And there's a natural 0. So this is going to be a lot of things that you come in contact with. Anytime you're measuring something, any measurements or counts of things. For example, if I tell you one person is 5'4" and one person is 5'7", they're 3 inches apart. We know 5'7" is taller than 5'4". That's the ordering. And a natural 0, even though it would be unlikely, a person could be 0 inches tall. That would be the lowest, a person could be. Okay, so those are the 4 levels of measurement.